Hi, brothers and sisters. Before I start, I'd like to clear my area. I command all negative energies to leave the planet. Don't ever come back. I command all the negative energies on my computer and computer line to leave the planet. Do not return. My topic today is about leak information from our Journey Home team members of George. These people had contacted me after I had made the Kavassilas deception, and I did not make the video anymore because in that video I said that I am at peace with that if you all had made a decision after I made the video. However, my hard drive was attacked on 1109, which is 9/11/1109. They killed my hard drive and destroy all the data that I have on file. So in case YouTube will delete some of my videos, I have nothing to re-upload. And they did in fact remove my one most viewed video entitled "Be Aware of George's Hidden Messages." They had deleted that, so I plan to re-record the deception, maybe put some more. But my topic today is about the leak information from the members of George Our Journey Home team. These people, I asked them how they decided to work with George. By the way, everything was confidential. These people doesn't know each other. I didn't tell them anything, but I just gathered some information. And the answers that they gave me were all the same. They go through a dream state that either they are friends of George or had worked with George or should work with George. So if you are a die-hard fan of George Kavassilas, I know you followed every interview of him. So let's speak about the interview that he had in Barcelona with the radio announcer and the translator also. You will recall that radio announcer also mentioned that he had dreamt of George before he went to Barcelona. So I don't know the rest of you George Kavassilas members, but if you watch this video, maybe you will find out too that you are not the only one being manipulated in your dreams. You were recruited through your dreams to make you feel close to George. And these people agreed to work with George because in their three-dimensional life, they felt that their life had no purpose. It became stale. And by working with George, they thought it could find them the energy and hope that they are helping humanity to wake up. It was a great deception, really, that these people were recruited like that. It is amazing that the answers are the same. So these people had been attacked on their sleep. They had severe physical attacks and psychic attacks. And you can't believe the nightmares that these people had, even some family members, One person went through so much attacks that this person got sick for a month. And after that person recovered and continued, her health degraded. Everything, her immune system was so weak and low, and even went through alopecia, you lose your hair, even your period cycle messed up, didn't have it for a long time, and there was no energy left. These people could see the veil of deception, and all through their relationship, they could see the deception. And every inconsistencies that George speak on his interviews, I know you, George fan, notice also that there are so many holes in his interviews or videos, but you guys seem to just okay with it, and you did not question or research why. Every time George mentioned the true sacrifice of Jesus Christ, he mentioned about the King Arthur was the reincarnation of Jesus Christ, and the sword. He spoke about the sword and the Vatican, and every time people could sense the evil energy that just appeared and leaving them sick. All the translators of George Kavassilas were drained. The other person collapsed. Another person went to the ladies' room to, wash her face, or, sprinkle some cold water on her face to get back to re-energize her. All the people there were feeling so weak. The question is, why was George Kavassilas' topic of the true sacrifice of Jesus Christ and the King Arthur and the Vatican that these evil energies seem to appear? My conclusion on that is, if you remember George's interview, he admitted on the management team that he is one of the 7 lords of darkness. They are knights, the 7 lords of darkness, that with him joining in, he closed that circle. And on his hidden messages, the reverse speech, it come out that they will ask him for the sword. So that's why he was wearing that sword necklace, because it is, he said, a symbol of the sword. It tells you that George was one of the knight of the dark energies. So every time that is being mentioned, it invokes the negative energies, the 7 lords of darkness energies, and start sucking up all your energies there that just sit there to feed these entities. So that is my feeling, that you were all manipulated in your dreams to appear on those interviews to feed those energies. His members wonder why George claimed to be the Council of Light, and every time these negative energies come out, he was not able to command them to leave, because he claims that he defeated these energies in the moon, that his higher self, came out and defeated the energy. And how come on this planet he was not able to tell them to leave? All he could say, oh, can you feel the energies? You guys were programmed to be the sitting ducks of feeding these entities. They asked, George Kavassilas mentioned about the unconditional love, that the true sacrifice of Jesus Christ. What was his example of that unconditional love of the true sacrifice of Jesus Christ, that the sun and the earth, and watch his wife being raped? That is such a opposite energy of introduction if you talk about the true sacrifice, why would you invoke the lust energy? So every time George speaks his mouth, it is a hollowed explanation. He is not giving you the deeper explanation. He gives you hollow explanation. So the earth was being raped, and when George gave his explanation also of unconditional love, he didn't tell you like go meditate and love each other and all that. He tells you like, hey, if someone beats my or attacks my wife, I'm gonna beat the blah 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 out of that person. And you cannot. He always say that how good is the unconditional love, if someone do that to your wife. And why would he preach unconditional love that way? Here's another example of unconditional love is while I was being raped by a hybrid, I told that hybrid, I still love you. That's unconditional love. If you guys will still accept that kind of BS from George, I mean, that is your choice. But my mission is to shed the lights on both sides. This way you can center yourself. You can see yourself, what's going on both sides. You don't have to follow me because that is not my purpose here. My purpose is to shine the lights on both sides. People does not understand that George talked about the Galactic Federation of Light a lot. He really blasphemed the Galactic Federation of Light. And he talks about his family that, picks him up and take him to somewhere. And he never mentioned how his families in space look like. All he could mention is the color of their clothes, the beige. He said, oh, they wear beige and they painted the area beige to, make him feel comfortable. And since you are all programmed or hypnotized to listen and do not question, you are like, okay, that's all. Okay. He said you wear beige, they wear beige, the surrounding is beige, okay. Oh, he said that he's the seventh lord of darkness, and with him joining in, he completes the circle. Okay, you are like this robot kind. So, he mentioned about he went to Mars, that he was being summoned by the Queen. But he never tell you guys that what was his mission there. Just talk about reptilian mission. George talk about the sword on his message, the secret message, the decoding of his reverse speech. Because that is these answers behind his explanation, you can put the things together that George is holding a sword. Oh, I forgot to bring the printed copy of the Revelation thing on the Zechariah 11:17. It mentioned there on the Revelation that Zechariah said that the Antichrist is holding a sword in his hand and is blinded in the right eye. The Antichrist symbol is the eye, the Illuminati. And how come George Kavassilas is holding, his name is Horus with additional down under. So you can, if you are going to figure it out, it seems like a down under is like undercover or anti. So anti-Horus, Antichrist. Why he has his symbol, his screen name symbol is the eye, like the Illuminati. For many years we were ruled by the Antichrist, which is the Illuminati. And people are so focused with the John revelations, John's uh, Gospel of John revelations. They are so focused on that. But to tell you guys, the Gospel of Luke, Matthew, John was written by the Piso family. Those were not the real revelations of Apocalypse. Some were being manipulated or added because that is the future that they want to come out. People were programmed so that we will think that way because our minds are so powerful. If you think about George mentioned about the universal law, the universal law is a universal game that we played here on Earth called polarity integration. The polarity integration game was agreed by all of us here that are here on the planet. We agreed to play this game to integrate the light and the dark. And by learning those two energies, we will find our Christ consciousness, the centered energy. So, if George first talked about his first interview in 2004, that was the correct information of the galactic history. So, if you had watched that video, it will explain you that the universal law, the universal game, they are part of this game. The 12 councils and the 7 councils, the 12 councils of light and the 7 councils of the dark had agreed that they will be a part of this game. They are our teachers. The battle is between the spirits who are ready to be awakened, will be allowed to pass that gate to the higher dimension. However, this game now, the Council of 7, which is the 7 Lords of Darkness, do not want to agree. They want to continue this game. They know the secret of creation because they were the fallen gods. They were the mad gods, the fallen Elohim. However, they are one of our teachers here on this planet, but they are not willing to give up. In George's video, I know if you are a George follower, you know what I'm talking about. I cannot remember the exact words that George was talking about. He talked so nice about the Tula group, the Tula society. He endorsed them big time, nicely before. However, when I started exposing about the Tula, he stopped talking about the Tula society. But I know you George Kavassilas fans had seen that video, that he really endorses that power, the Tula group. The Tula existed in Atlantis. The Tula Empire existed in Atlantis. And after that, here too, they continued. They had Satanist priesthood. The Tula power, they had this power that they can tap into, the Tula power, where when you tap into that power, you will become God by knowing good, and you will become God by knowing evil. So everything can be turned into an evil energy, like the numbers. If the numbers is good, it can be turned into a bad also. Such an example of the 9/11. It's the start of something. 11 is a higher than it's a enlightenment or awakening. The 333 is also like a good number if you want to make it a good number. It is a doorway to something. Either it is a doorway to heaven or hell, so it can become good or bad. So the Tulas tap into that power, and they are Luciferians. Okay, so at this moment, Hitler belongs to the Tula society before. He was molded and raised behind Hitler's knowledge, but the Tula and the Vril had molded Hitler to become, or programmed to be the person to create that war. So everything was manipulated. The Shambhala, I talked about Shambhala before, that this is where the Illuminati come from, in Shambhala, where these blonde Nordics, the blue bloods, the draconians, when the flood happens in Atlantis, one race had survived, and that was they landed in Shambhala. So that is their place of Shambhala, Avalon. So I did expose the Shambhala and Avalon, that Illuminati had come from there. The blonde Nordics that George talked about are Orion Grace. They are the tall Grace, the Orion. They are in this under the Orion Empire, because we are ruled by so many dark forces of evil, the Draconian and the Orion Empire. The Orion Empire is the group that is doing the management here, while they are under the Draconians. So I exposed that on my last video on George Kavassilas' hidden messages. As I said again, the Tula power, you can tap into that power by knowing good and knowing evil. So if you will do your deeper research, I remember, what's this person, Milan Martin, he wrote the Lucifer's Children. He had done a lot of research, very good research. He has not awakened, he does not know about the alien, but his speech, if you Google that, Milan Martin, he will tell you about the Tula power too. He talks about the children of the sun and the children of the black sun. So that group is Luciferian, and why George talk about Mother Earth is Sophia. I mentioned Sophia was the first archangel. The earth is not Sophia, and the earth is not a blue dragon. The earth is a green angel. A blue dragon, Draconians are blue bloods. They are blue dragon. They are. There's so many deceit there. So that's why I talk about Sophia. The original Sophia, the first archangel, had returned to the light. The tentacles, the body, the remnants are still here on this planet and still want to continue to play this game. What else? The King Arthur that he spoke about. King Arthur, he said that Jesus was the reincarnation of King Arthur, and then he started talking about the sword. And I did mention it in my other video that King Arthur was the son of Uther Pendragon. Uther Pendragon is a draconian, and you can tell already by the name Uther Pendragon, okay? Who, by the way, was the son of Constantine. Constantinople. Constantine was called the king of the dragons and draconian, okay? Now, by the way, Constantine was the king of the dragon. Where did Constantine's spirit reincarnated to? That's a good question, but I had a feeling it was the Rothschilds is the head of the beast. So I bet that that was Constantine's reincarnation, you know. So you have to understand that in this planet, in the game that we played, polarity integration, if you ask a good example of the polarity integration game is learning, experiencing the negative energy and the positive energy. So do not ask George for example of unconditional love, because he will tell you, as I was being raped by the hybrid, I told that hybrid that I love the hybrid. That is, again, I sound like a broken record, but that is an invocation of the lust energy. The polarity integration that he was asked, can you explain about the polarity integration? Instead of him explaining that we have to experience the negative experiences through hardships or through manipulation, and then experiencing the positive energies, the good life, then we're able to integrate that and find the wisdom within us. This way we will find our balanced energy, which is the Christ energy, the Christ consciousness. Then we will find our godliness. So the polarity integration definition for him is, yeah, I am inside of you and you are inside of me. You are inside my universe and you're inside my universe, and we integrate that together. Doesn't that leave the listeners more confused? Like, what is a better explanation to make me understand the polarity integration? Okay. Now, the universal law that he explained, and I know, even me, I will not understand his explanation of the universal law. He's not talking about the universal law, because the universal law, when we were having our experiences here with this game, that no one will going to interfere unless we invited them. So in the meantime, the elders did not interfere because we are attending the school of wisdom. So in the meantime, these dark energies did program us not to think that we have free will. He said, oh, you have free will, but you really don't have any free will, because, you know, that is the George's explanation. If we don't have any free will, you know, our higher self would have picked us up right away, so that we will not be manipulated and really get pushed so much lower, trampled over many times by the dark energies. So our higher self will pick us up right away. Okay, enough of that, you go back home. But since we have free will, you agreed to do that. So the only rule of free will is, if you are going to speak it up, like, I have my free will. Now I'm tired of playing this game. So I will leave everything to my higher self, because I'm tired of this game. Everything didn't work out. So now I surrender myself to my higher self. So when your higher self takes over, then that is the end of the dark cabal's manipulation of you, because you will then become powerful, because your higher self will not lead you astray, will not lead you down, will not let anything bad happen to you. Our prime creator left us with two guides, the guardian angel and the spirit guide, the ascended master, the keepers of the grail. The keepers of the grail The Grail is our spirit, the Holy Grail. So because we are blinded by their manipulation that we have no free will, they really put a tape over our mouth so that we will not invoke our free will. However, when George talked about he was visited by a being from Saturn, and then he invoked his free will there. He said, why don't you just leave me alone, let me experience what I want to experience. So he invoked his free will there. What is really so deceiving. So he tells you that you have no free will because your higher self is, that is correct. Your higher self is really like in control up there in the astral, and you here in the physical body, you have your free will. You are in command of yourself. So they really manipulate you big time that you have no free will. So you can be manipulated to the fullest. Okay, what else? I got my list here. It's not so many. I should have written some more. But Saturn, he said, being in Saturn is connected to the third eye energy. Oh, look at that. George doesn't want you to find your power and activate your third eye, because if you learn how to do that, then you become powerful and dissolve the energies of the darkness. So he doesn't want you to be powerful. Okay. He talks about the rainbow colors of something like that. But this rainbow is the rainbow tribe. We are the tribe of many colors here on earth. So when we become collective mind, we can think of a better world and change and shift this planet into a better place. So then those negative energies had no place to stay, but they will be given their own parallel reality that stays in the lower dimension. So people there will be lower essence. So there is really no meat on those people, if you understand what I mean. Because on this planet, we have so many that are already enlightened. Their essence, their godly power had increased. If you could see the meter of this person that is enlightened, you can see that it's high. So this negative energy want to suck that life out of you to make them powerful. And this is why they love to eat the children, because of the children's power. The being in Saturn, the being in Saturn is not Jehovah. Jehovah is was a Nibiru. Okay. By the way, Jehovah had returned to the light also. He was counseled by the archangels that you cannot play God on these people. Everyone, all the beings we are all equal. It doesn't matter how high they are in this hierarchy position. It is just mean that they are higher evolved spirits. But as a spirit, we are all even. So no one is above you and no one is below you. George mentioned that, but in a very hollowed explanation. Let me say it again, that the correct meaning of that is, there is nothing above that you are going to worship and obey, like what they are doing now, and there is nothing below that you are going to manipulate or worship and obey, because we are all equal. So that is the correct meaning of that. There's nothing above you and there's nothing below. The Saturn again. The Saturn is where the higher evolved beings' headquarters is. The Saturn is a spiritual planet. As I mentioned in my old video, the races on this planet, I believe, I mentioned there that we have 12 planets in our solar system. The 7 is the physical planet, and the 5 is the spiritual. It also the same symbols of our body, the ants, that on our right side it consists of 7 colors that represents the material energy, our experiences, and everything that on that side. And also on the left side is the 5 colors that represents the spiritual side, and that is also the same with our solar system, which is now being restored by the elders, the archangels. If you are Alex Collier's, if you had watched Alex Collier's video a long time ago, he mentioned there that the Patals prefer to live in a planet that has rings, the ringed planet. That's why the Saturn is the headquarters of the higher evolved spirits. This is like their headquarters. And I asked this few weeks ago, why the ringed planet? And they pointed me to an answer like Contact movie, where Judy Foster sit in this chair where it was like the ring started to spin in many different direction. So imagine the whole planet when those rings started to spin, and you're just right there in split second, and you are into a different dimension or reality. So you don't need a spaceship, because all you have to do is let those rings spin, and they're here right away. So they are so scared of that. The Asuras, the mad gods, the fallen gods, the 7 council. Let me say it again. When George gave his first explanation in his 2004 videos, remember he drew that thing on the board regarding the right side is the Great White Brotherhood, and the left side is the 7 councils with Lucifer's team. So Tula society, Tula Empire in Atlantis exists. Again, they had this Tula power that you can tap into to make you God by knowing evil and make you God by knowing good. So anything can be turned into good or anything into bad. That's why these people here, the Illuminati, they had the negative forces that are manipulating us are so many. They're Satanists, they're Luciferians and Satanists. In a higher definition, there's the highest is the Draconians, then the Orion Empire that works under them, which is ruled by a queen, which is under the Draconian. So they had their own wars of powers here. Now they have the Draconian came and want to take over. Orion Empire doesn't want to give up the power, so they have their own arguments there. So we are caught in the middle. This is also there is also the magic, the black magic thing. The priesthood in Atlantis, the evil ones, are also participating. So many negative energies. That's why they use all powers, telepathy, black magic, all kinds of high-tech technology, our cell phones, our high-definition TVs, the video games, the movies. They really execute all their powers and anything to manipulate our minds to be controlled by them. So I guess that's all I want to say. If I think of something more, I'm going to make another video. I love you all, brothers and sisters.